There were not a lot of new AAA games in April, but there certainly were many re-releases and indie games to help fill out the month's calendar. I got some codes for several of them on PS4 and Switch, so here's a quick review of them all. Let's begin with Say No More, which has everything you need to know about this game in the title. It also is a hard game to describe in that a lot about what makes it a blast to play would be a spoiler. The basic premise is this. You're a timid new intern at a company who is bogged down by your corporate overlords. Upon finding an inspirational tape, you discover the power of saying no, which is almost like a gun. That's not your only weapon either, as laughing at someone can lower their defenses for even bigger surprises. The game's visuals look like a PS1 game akin to one of my favorites, Mega Man Legends, so that was a huge plus for me along with discovering the insane things that happen in it. It's a short adventure and there's really not any challenge to it. I admire the chances it took though and recommend it to those that like goofy and unexpected experiences like Frog Fractions or the Stanley Parable. Moving on, based on the name, I bet you would not have guessed this game starts as a Bible tale. That's right, you play Eve, who is stricken away from Adam in the Garden of Eden, wherein you're transplanted instead to a strange world where Smelter, this sentient bat-like mask thing, fuses to your body. Part of the game is an action platformer, much like Mega Man X, based on the moveset, graphics, and even the music. Another game inspiration could be derived from ActRaiser, another religious-infused SNES classic that was part simulation builder and part 2D action platformer. The other part of the game, then, is like an RTS map wherein you build bases and defend them from enemies, all while trying to unlock the next level for Eve to dive into. It's a cool idea for a game all around and might be my top pick for April. Next we have Cozy Grove, which begins with your created character winding up on an island full of literal bear ghosts. Talk to a bear, do his beginning quests, usually revolving around grabbing something, and then that ghost becomes more real, also unlocking a new area around them. There is one bear that unlocks a mail service and one that has a workshop, for example. I'd like to clarify that bears are not the only inhabitants of the island, but they are kind of the game's theme. Cozy Grove wants to be the answer to players tired of Animal Crossing New Horizons from last year. It has all the right ingredients, but the assembly leaves something to be desired. The gameplay loop feels more repetitive, the game is glitchy in that the frame rate does freeze, and the initial load time is crazy long. It's not a bad game, but it's not as chill as it wants to be, that's for sure. Now we have Moon Raider, which is a level-based action platformer with all the aesthetics of a Metroidvania, but plays more like a Mega Man game from the NES. You start out with your standard gun arm, but soon unlock ways to utilize the gems you're collecting, like one that literally lets you move around anywhere in any direction. The problem is the game can feel like a prototype. It looks good from the art style, but the animations look half-finished and feel that way too, giving the game a floaty feel to the platforming. The game came out last year on PC, so I would have hoped these issues could have been fixed for this console launch. That's sadly just not the case here. Here we have What the Dub, which is similar to the Jackbox Party Pack games. That is to say, you play with your friends via anything with a web browser, be it a phone, laptop, tablet, and so on. The concept is also very one-note in that the entire game is centered on the concept of Mystery Science Theater 3000. For a few rounds, everyone competes with dubbing in funny lines to old movie clips. That sounds like a lot of fun, but there are a few issues. One, the text added uses a robotic voice, making the delivery lackluster at times. Two, all the clips are almost too short to really get a good sense of a joke to play off of. And this is coming from someone who loves that show and also cracking wise during any and all movies in real life. Even in the few sessions I played with friends, the game didn't make us laugh as much as others in the genre of party games. It's okay, but it definitely needs to work harder to stand out if it ever gets a sequel. Lastly, let's take a look at the Skylia Prophecy. It looks like a Castlevania game, but it plays more like a Metroid. You don't level up from experience, you instead find upgrades, like for health in the world, along with new powers. Sort of like Moon Raider, it felt like a prototype of something that could be better. Pixel art didn't quite have the aesthetic I was looking for, the monsters were also fairly generic in design. It's not a game that was terrible by any means, everything is there and in working order. It just didn't grab me enough to really make me gush. And I guess on that downer, I will take my leave. But stay tuned because there is another April wrap-up show coming out soon, so, in other words, get hyped for that. Did you like that video? If you did, please like, subscribe, and spread the good word of ReActionExaminer. If you want to read more of my stuff, you can find a plethora of my articles over at TheGamer and Game Rant. All of those links and more are in the show notes below. Thanks for watching!